the first round pick, Will Campbell. There's been a lot of discussion about him, about arm length, about all this stuff. What do you see on film as far as a guy who the Patriots probably are going to plug and play at left tackle?
Yeah, and it's an interesting discussion. And again, people can say that there's no difference between 33 inches and 32 and 5/8, and there's two sides to these, and reasonable, smart people can disagree. But the one thing that I do know is there's 64 offensive tackles in the NFL. Only 4 of them have arm length under 33 inches. For a lot of offensive coaches, O-line coaches, that's the delineation mark for an offensive tackle. So he's under 33 inches. Now, I think that his tape is good. It's funny when you watch tape, and I asked a former GM this question because, again, I try to learn from as many people as I can. I've been watching tape for a long time, Greg. So when I watch a player and 90% of his tape is really good, and I thought that was the case with Campbell because he's very controlled, he's very composed in pass protection. I thought he played with good balance, good body control. I did think he used his hands proactively and efficiently. I thought he anchored really well, and that's really important in this league because speed to power is the number one thing that you have to be able to deal with as a tackle. But he had a really bad game against Landon Jackson, who's now in your division, of course, with Buffalo. But he had a really bad game against Landon Jackson of Arkansas. And, so I asked, the guys who do this, I don't get hired and fired, fortunately, if I'm wrong, but how you deal with when a guy has a bad game, and there's reasons he had the bad game. That was a game where his arm length issues showed up. And I didn't get a great answer, because I don't know if there is a great answer. Like, you have to decide how you feel about that. But from everything I gather, and you're there, they're going to play him at left tackle, and he's a day one starter, correct? I mean, that's why you don't draft a guy with the 4th pick in the draft who played 3 years of left tackle in the SEC, not to make him your starting left tackle. My guess is he'll be good, but there might be times where he has some bad snaps where it shows up. But he's a really solid player. I made it a point to listen to him speak at the podium at the combine. He's an impressive kid. I really liked his whole manner. I mean, you could tell that he's just one of those guys that you want in your O-line room. So clearly, I mean, we talked about Morgan Moses at right tackle. They'll be better at the tackle position. I think Campbell will be good, like I said, but I think people shouldn't be surprised if he has some bad snaps here and there, just because it's going to be an issue somewhere along the line. Now, when I say be an issue, I don't mean it's going to be an issue where he can't play, but it'll be an issue on certain reps.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with your evaluation, and I'm glad you pointed out the Landon Jackson film. That was the film that I was just like, okay, this is a little rough. And now they're in the same division together. That's going to be very interesting. But yeah, we're going to have to see how it plays out.